Alright, Shalom. Gonna give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yoshua, Bashem Kakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Muslim who do rule and teach well. This is Leviticus 15 and 19. If a woman have an issue, and her issue of flesh be blood, which is a period, she should be put apart 7 days, and whatsoever toucheth her shall be unclean until the evening. Right, so you know, this stuff doesn't really last 7 days, but the 7 days just to be 100% certain, right? And everything that she lieth upon in her separation shall be unclean. Everything that she sitteth upon shall be unclean, right? And we know that we can't keep these laws 100%. That's why we need salvation through faith, salvation through grace, because you know, we're dealing with the curses right now. Let's see here. We have the grasshoppers. This is 2 Edges 4 and 24. We pass away out of the world as grasshoppers, and our life is astonishment and fear, and we're not worthy to obtain mercy. So yeah, it's significant he spoke of this because of the low condition Israel dealt with within Babylon, but we're also dealing with the same thing here in Neo-Babylon, which is America, pertaining to Revelation, the 17th chapter. And everything that she lieth upon separation shall be unclean. Hold on, did I read this already? Leviticus 15 and 19, I think I did. Everything that she lieth upon in a separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean. And whosoever touched that bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, shall be unclean to the evening. Which is the same for all these things. If you're unclean, you have to bathe yourself in the water and be unclean to the evening. And whatsoever touches anything that she set upon shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean to the evening. Right, so if you touch anything she sat upon, right, you're going to be unclean. Right, and then that's why Zebulon did this, because we know that the laws have always been around, you know, always been here, going all the way back to Adam and stuff like that. Like, I don't want to get too deep into everything, but you know, it's Adam getting the breath of life into him, like it talks about, I think it's 2 Edges the 6th chapter, I believe. But if you look up breath in the King James, you'll find it. So this is Genesis 31:35, and she said to her father, "Let not displease my Lord, that cannot rise up." Next, let me go ahead. Slack it. Genesis 31:29. Isn't the power of my hands do you hurt? But the God of your father spake unto me last night, saying, Take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob by the good or bad. And now, though thou wast needs be gone, because thou sawest long after thy father's health, yet wherefore thou stolen my gods. I left me some commentaries. Now, this could actually be God, that Laban was an idolater, which I wouldn't be surprised if he actually was. But it could also be some sort of family icons or family trinkets or something. Either or, it's kind of contested within the commentaries. They're not actually sure. But as I said before, I wouldn't be surprised, because you can't remember if Abraham and his father, Abraham left his father because his father was involved in all kinds of idolatry and stuff like that. It talks about that in it talks about that in Joshua, I believe. I think it talks about in Joshua. And basically, you know, Abraham, he was like kind of like almost like an Israelite foreigner back then. He was going from place to place and things like that. And that was kind of like a symbol of the lack of a symbol for us. Us turning away from our family members who are involved in all kinds of X, Y, and Z, because we all have family members that are like that. Some of you probably have family members that are Masons. You got a father that's a Mason or something like that. You got family members that are involved in all kinds of stuff. You know, parents are Christians. It could be diehard Christians, or they could be Muslims. Your father could be a Muslim or something. So that's just a condition of the battle, the things that we deal with right now, right? And Jacob answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid, for I said, Peradventure thou wouldst take by force thy daughters from me, and whatsoever thou findest that God let him not live before our brethren. Discern now what is thine with me, and take it to thee, for Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. And Laban went to Jacob's tent, and to Leah's tent, and to two maidservants' tent, but he found them not. Then he went out of Leah's tent, entered into Rachel's tent. And Rachel had taken the images and put them in the camel's furniture, and sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. And she said to her father, Let not displease my Lord, that I cannot rise before thee, for the custom of women is upon me. And he searched, but found not the images. And that's why he did not check under her, tell her to get up, because she said she has a custom woman upon her, which means she had her period. Now, when you read Genesis, the 3rd chapter, Women basically always have the periods. Periods didn't start in Genesis, the 3rd chapter. Periods have always been around, which I'm going to explain later, because basically after a woman gets a period, that's when she is most fertile, and that's when she's ready to make a baby. So chances are, if a woman is finished with this, chances are she's going to be popped by her husband, and she's going to be having some babies. So Leviticus 15:25, if a woman have an issue of her blood many days out of the time of her separation, or run beyond the time of her separation, so if it's longer than 7 days, all the days of her issue of her uncleanness shall be the days of separation, she shall be unclean, right? And she's supposed to check for herself and make sure that her thing stops, essentially. And all this stuff nowadays where you're supposed to have a priest, like Amalek does nowadays. A priest supposed to inspect your underwear and make sure you actually are finished. That's fucking disgusting, and that should not be happening. No man outside of her husband should be looking at any of her underwear, and no man outside of her husband should be looking at a woman's nakedness. Right, because as I said before in that book, Israel Shahak, Jewish History, Jewish Religion, when a female converted to Judaism back then, like even I think that book was written like the 80s or something. The rabbis, according to Israel Shahak, which he was like a chemistry professor at the Hebrew University or something, but he was involved in was the Israel Priest Party or something like that. He pretty much made it his life work to expose his own people. But Israel Shah talked about that. If a woman was to convert to Judaism, her body would have to be inspected while she's in the bath. While her naked body is in the bath, she would have to be inspected by 3 rabbis, which is ridiculous. The woman should be naked, and three dudes that aren't her husband should be viewing upon her. That's wicked, man. The only person supposed to be looking upon a woman's nakedness is her husband. Verse 26, every bed where part she lieth upon, all the days of issue shall be unto her as a bed of her separation, and whatsoever she said the part shall be unclean is the uncleanness of her separation. So if you set her apart and you build her like a shack or another house or something where she can go to, everything in the house is now unclean. So if you touch it or someone else touches it, they're going to be unclean. Until the evening and things like that. Whosoever touches those things shall be unclean, shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean to the evening. Right? He's supposed to bathe, take a bath, and stuff like that. And baths are good for you too, man. Like, not even for being unclean and stuff, but like baths in general. Like they say, if you take a hot bath before bed, it like helps you sleep better because it reduces cortisol, which makes sense because it helps you calm down and stuff like that. Because sometimes. We live in here in America, man. The second of just 4:24, our lives are astonishment and fear. We pass our way out as well as grasshoppers and things like that, because of the curses. Which really, second of just 4:24 is talking about Ezra back in Babylon, but it can also apply to us now because we're dealing with literally the exact same thing in a nation that's literally just like ancient Babylon. It's the same stuff, It's Neo-Babylon, right? Like America, and all these, other nations are all neo-totalitarian, right? So they have the same totalitarian structure as all the nations that are before them, but they're neo, as in they're new. They're just refurbished, same stuff that happened back then. It's just the same stuff, over and over and over again, right? Like you can honestly argue Israel is like a neo-communist state or something, because it basically is all the land in that area is owned by the Israel Land Authority. It's basically owned by the state. So you lease the land off the state, essentially. Which man, I guess it's similar to us too. I know the banks and stuff are involved. I've never been involved in buying a house, man. I have no money, man. I can't do that, but I assume it's the same thing here. It's we're just 2 people do it. I'm certain there's banks and stuff that are involved. Like back then it would just be between 2 individuals. Like all the time, Abraham and our forefathers, they bought property, the lands and Canaan and stuff like that. It would just be between 2 people. That's in exchange of private property between two private individuals. But with communism, it's ran by the state, and the state, you get the land off the state essentially. But I guess you could say Israel is kind of like shades of communism and stuff like that. But all those people that are in that land now, they essentially came out of Russia and Eastern Europe and stuff like that. The majority of them came out of Russia, which that's why I mentioned that in my commentary, in my community post. So yeah, we can keep reading on. Leviticus 15:26. Every bed whereupon she lieth, all days of Israel shall be unto as a dead, as a bed of separation. Whatsoever she sitteth upon shall be unclean, as unclean separation. Right, I think I read that already. If she be cleansed of an issue, then she says, numbered herself 7 days. After that, she shall be clean. Right, so if it's 7 days, and then she's clean, and she checks herself. Okay, she checks herself to make sure she's clean. Right, then she numbers herself 7 days after that. Then she's clean. No rabbi. You're not supposed to give no underwear to no rabbi or something like that, man. Or give your underwear to a priest or something, and the priest, go ahead and check it. Stuff like that. You're not supposed to be doing no stuff like that, man. They didn't do stuff like that back then. Let me look that up. Pretty sure women didn't have underwear back then. I'm certain I heard brothers mention that women didn't have no women didn't have no underwear back then. They just let this stuff breathe. I don't think guys had underwear. Guys had like hosen and stuff like that. That's what they call them. Hosen. We had like pants. We had pants back then, like knitted pants and stuff like that. We didn't have no tighty whities and stuff like that. You know what I mean? We just had like pants and stuff. And then the scriptures talk about that too, like make sure the priest, the Levites have pants and stuff under the garment, so that the Lord doesn't look upon the nakedness where they go upstairs and stuff like that. And the priest shall offer the one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. Actually, hold on. On the 8th day, she will take unto 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons and bring them into the priest to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. Which pretty much all the, things that went on the tabernacle pretty much would be, replaced and go on within the temple when, King Solomon built the temple and things like that. All that stuff was pretty much translated into there. And the priest shall offer the one for a sin offering and the other one for a burnt offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for her before the Lord for the issue of uncleanness. Right, so very serious stuff. That's why Laban didn't want to touch Rachel's things when she basically lied and said that she was on her monthly. Serious stuff. It should have said nowadays, we can't really do that stuff. We cannot. We don't have it. We don't have property and stuff to put your woman away for weeks and weeks at a time. But do we sin because we're under grace, right? God forbid. And you want to be wise, with your life and your life choices. So if you do have a woman and she says that she's dealing with that, you should not go in onto her. You should just leave, and just not deal with that, because that is pretty goddamn disgusting, right? Can a girl get pregnant when she's just gotten over a period? And this is kids' health. Having unprotected sex at any time is risky and can result in pregnancy. Sometimes ovulation time when girls most likely to become pregnant can happen within a few days when your period ends. So this is the time when a woman is most fertile, and then she can have children. Then 9 months later, she has a child and stuff like that. Or she stops having a period or whatever, and then boom. So chances are, after the period, those will be the times when the man would want to run into his wife and get her pregnant. And this also tells you why we had multiple wives, because if the one is out, then you have the other one, and the other one's out, you have another one, right? And you have a good steady supply. So essentially 7 days of uncleanness, right? If it's 7 days. Oh, well, no. Yeah, if it's 7 days, because it can be, who knows, it could be 10 days, it could be 12, right? So plus an extra 7 days, so it could be 14. So that's half a month. So pretty much, if you want to add up all the time together, you spend 6 months with your wife, and essentially out of the year. So it'll be 6 months of time you spend with your wife, because you only have 2 weeks with her when she's clean. And then obviously it's like, oh man, we only got, this short window of time. It's like, you gotta get in, you gotta get your time in, and you know what I mean, you gotta get in that cardio. Right? So little one, you edified, Shalom. This is how things were running back then, and even to this day, with Amalek and stuff like that. Amalek stole our identity. He's claiming to be us and stuff like that. So many scriptures like that, like was it like Ezekiel 36, the one that Bastard shall draw, so dwell Nashdad, Joel 3, they parted my land, stuff like that. Amalek, man, even with them, they have mikvahs, which they have like community bathhouses, which I'm pretty sure they're, you're not supposed to do that, because if you all share a bath, how do you clean that? Like, how do you get rid of that? Because now that water and stuff is unclean. I mean, you're having a bunch of unclean people all in one spot, essentially. So it's like, I don't really get the reasoning of doing that, man. It makes more sense for everyone to have like their own separate spot, and then to go ahead and do it. But that's what Amalek does. They got the traditions of men and all that, right? The little traditions of men. And with Amalek, they basically have like a rule with the mikvah attendants, which is like the bathhouse where women bathe when they, get the period and stuff like that. Which I believe they bathe after the period is all over, which is supposed to be a symbol of them being purified. I don't really understand that. The scriptures doesn't say you're supposed to bathe afterwards, but I believe that's what they say that they do. I said before, it's traditions of men. But with Amalek, basically there's like a rule that they have where they don't tell, like, if you saw someone's wife go in there to like take a bath there, they don't tell other people, because you don't want to like put that person's business out there, because chances are if you saw a woman leaving or going to take a bath there, then right after that that she was gonna get it in with her man and make another child. So that's why they kind of kept that stuff secret, which, as I said, nowadays, this is the last video, nowadays in the mikvahs they have female attendants and stuff like that, and they have females observe you and inspect you and stuff like that. But back then, like 70s or 80s, whenever Issachar wrote that book, Jewish History, Jewish Religion, they had men do it, which that is super wicked, because you're not supposed to be looking. Well, no, they didn't have men do that. They had men do the conversion. Slakia. I don't know if they had men inspect the bath, but maybe they did. I don't know. But as I said before, Amalek twists the scripture. He does things differently and stuff like that. It's all traditions of men. So low on the edify, Shalom.